Yeah, this is a mess. Someone did not know what they were doing. Yeah, you can see the bend in that. You can see the bend in that foot peg too. Someone went down hard. Someone got really hurt on this thing. I also got the paint on this frame. It looks amazing. So much better than it did.
Woo! It's gonna sound beautiful.
We're back, guys.
We're back with something new, something different.
Yup. Our friend got a pit bike, an SSR125, and he wants us to do some maintenance to it and do some mods to it and just go over it and fix it up and do everything it needs to be a good, perfect running bike. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
Right out the box, it has a few things wrong with it. The brake caliper isn't right at all. Like, it's not even on the rotor. It's not within the pads.
No.
It's riding on the caliper.
Yeah, so that's not good. We got to fix that.
The shock's kind of dunzo.
The rear shock's pretty blown out. Like, I shouldn't be able to compress it that easily with one arm. No pressure.
Plastics are a little rough.
Plastics are a little toast, but it's getting new plastics.
The main thing, the rear engine bolt. It has two engine bolts that hold it, and then that holds your foot pegs. Like, it's supposed to hold your weight. And that sort of sheared itself off.
Yep. The engine bolt snapped off. So we gotta fix that. That's a major problem. Make sure this top engine bolt's the right size there. It doesn't like to idle, so we got a new carburetor and air filter for it. So we're gonna be installing that, and we got a jet kit so we can rejet it.
And something easy. The bars may be bent, we don't know yet. But the clamps, they were tightened down this side completely all the way first. And then that side,
yeah, they aren't tightened down properly.
Clamped.
So we'll fix that. And gas tank breather.
Yeah, that's gone.
The exhaust needs a new exhaust because this one's all rusty and shot, and the muffler is gone and the pipe snapped off.
Seat has a nice little...
Yeah, it's getting a new seat as well. Not today though, that will be in the future. Yeah. And then we need to figure out where it's leaking oil, at least a little oil from up in the head area, somewhere up here on the exhaust side. So we gotta figure that out, try to take care of that, and then do a valve adjustment as well. Change the engine oil, and then it should be good and ready to rip. Bleed the brakes as well. Needs to have brakes bled. But all said and done, this thing's gonna be sweet once it's finished. So we're gonna get it all fixed up for him. We got a bunch of new parts to install on this thing. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start taking the plastics off this thing so I can get access to everything more visibly, and I'm gonna remove the exhaust, the carburetor, and the shifter as well, the shift lever. All right, so we have to remove the two bolts back here that hold the seat on, and they're not the right size bolt at all. They're way too small. They're like a 2mm bolt, like thick bolt. They're so tiny. It's the smallest 8mm nuts I've ever seen. It's like half the size of the hole that's in the frame for the seat. That we'll have to take care of. And then there's a Phillips head here. This one's missing. Then there's one here, and then a bolt here as well. And then the whole thing should lift off. None of them are the right bolts. So, let's see. I think so. All right. There we go. Sweet. It's off. Yeah, this is a mess. Someone did not know what they were doing. It's all right. They tried their best. Everyone's got to start somewhere. You got to learn. Hopefully this person learned that this wasn't the best way to fix this thing. So now in the future, they'll do it better, hopefully. CDI box. Dirty, very dirty. Gas tank mounts. So fuel off. I'm going to drain all this fuel out and replace it with some new fuel. So I'm just going to take this off the carburetor here. And it just ripped. Nice. Take it off the bike bend and just let it drain out. Our gas tank should just lift right off. Beautiful. Sweet. Alright, so we are going to be removing this engine from this bike. So I'm going to undo the wiring first here. So that way I can just take all the wires off of everything and then the engine will be able to come right out. Start by cutting these zip ties. Hold it all on.
Where's the wiring?
Huh?
Just wiring for the spark plug? Or?
Yeah, there's wiring for the spark plug. And the coil pack and TDI. Yeah. We're going to remove the skid plate here, the kickstand and foot pegs, chain as well. There's a bunch we have to undo. I'm going to clean the wires and all that stuff too. Clean it all, you know. Alright, so now we're going to take the chain off. And I noticed they put the master link on the wrong direction. So I'm surprised this hasn't blown apart. I don't know how it hasn't. Maybe because it's really stuck on here. Holy smokes. Holy smokes, it's really stuck. Alright, there we go. Got it apart. Sweet. There we go, chain's out. That was not easy. One of the hardest chains I've ever removed. Next up, we're gonna remove the heat shield from the sides of the engine. And we're gonna undo 4 bolts that hold the foot pegs on. And the engine will be ready to be dropped down then. Gotta remove the 1.5 engine bolts. Weird thing to say. Half a bolt. Not the whole thing, just half of it.
Like that, like tray filter or something?
I don't know. We just found this in the gas tank. Does anyone know why this would be in here? Or if it was meant to be in there? I don't think it was. So I've never seen one in one of these type of gas tanks before. And it was just flopping around in there. It wasn't like it was attached to anything. It was just rattling around. That's how I noticed it was in there. You need the kickstart now. Don't spline, so you gotta pull it straight off. It's slowly coming off. Just kind of trying to wiggle it. There we go. Now we should be able to pull this off. Right? Oh wait, that. There we go. There we go. All right, sweet. All right, so now I got it hoist up. So now it won't fall over. Some ratchet straps from the ceiling. And we take the kickstand off. 2 of the engine foot peg mounts are 10 mils and 2 of them are Allen keys. That is not right, so we'll have to straighten that out. But someone did whatever they could to make it work, I guess. And they're off. Yeah, you can see the bend in that. You can see the bend in that foot peg too. That's not good. Look at that. Someone got hurt on this thing. Someone went down hard on the right side because the right brake lever is completely destroyed. The foot peg's bent. The plastics were destroyed on that side.
The engine's shifted to the left.
Yeah, the engine's got pushed to the left, broke the right engine beside the engine bolt. Someone went down hard. Someone got really hurt on this thing.
You even got hit by a car.
Nah, I don't think that. Someone probably hit a tree or something. Or they were trying to jump it or maybe it wiped out. Something rough.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, I can't even imagine. I would not. That's unfortunate. The bike took it like a champ though. I give it that. Frame still seems pretty straight. And I didn't see any broken welds. I'm gonna wash it down, get all the dirt off, and look again. But
do you know if it runs?
Yeah, it runs. Not great, but it runs. The next thing I gotta do is take the rear swing arm bolt out, so that way I can pull the swing arm back to be able to get the rear engine bolt off. So I gotta get the sizes for that. All right, so let's remove the swing arm. There's two of them.
There it is.
Oh. Perfect. Sweet. Shocks out. Keep the bolts here because we'll use them with the new shocks, I assume. All right, time to drop out the engine. So now we'll remove the broken engine bolt first. I'm assuming I can probably just hit it out. I think it's 10. It might just thread itself out, honestly. Let's try. It is very loose. Can I just wiggle the engine and get it out? Stop! Yes, that one snapped clean off. Lovely.
Yeah, this is lovely too.
Alright, now then top engine bolt here. Today is 13. Also, you want to give me a hand? Can you hold the engine so I can take this bolt out?
Yeah. You're so lucky this is going.
He's trying to remove the fork tubes currently.
And all it's doing is rounding over.
So that way we can add spacers to these to make them stiffer. The spring stiffer. And we got one. This one does not want to go.
And it's getting to the point where it almost doesn't want to come on. So
yeah. Alright, so I'm remove the screwdriver, pick it up. Ready? Alright, drop her out. And it's out. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, so now I'm gonna remove the rear wheel from the rear swing arm. Just to make cleaning and everything a little bit easier, and I gotta remove it anyways to align this brake system here because it's all wrong. So pull it out, and this should come back. Like that. There we go. Yeah, so we gotta remove this caliper here and get this thing situated. All right, so now I'm gonna give all this stuff a good clean, get all the dirt off of it, clean the engine, and then get all the new parts and start putting it back together, getting an engine bolt, and get it all looking good. All right, so now I got everything cleaned up really good. It's all looking nice. Got everything, all the mud and dirt off of everything. Swing arm, the whole frame, plastics. The only thing I didn't clean yet is the actual engine itself. But if you look here, I noticed something about this frame. Look at that. That's bad. So I'm gonna have to straighten the top one out. The bottom one is still straight. This one is good still. But that one, look how off that is. And look at the rear axle. Look how bent that is. That's so bad. Someone got seriously hurt on this thing. So we'll have to get a new rear axle as well. So for now, we're working on straightening out the engine mounts, because the engine mounts are all bent crazy hard to the right of the bike over here if you're standing on the front, or to the left if it's like you're riding. The bike had a major crash on the right side of the bike here. So everything got pushed this way and back. So we had to pull everything straight. This whole top engine mount was all twisted. The bolt that was in here, thankfully this engine mount didn't twist. The bolt failed first and it snapped the bolt. And so we're straightening out the top here, and it's a lot straighter than it was. It was really bad. So we think it's pretty good. We're gonna weld in reinforcements now. After we get the engine all like set up and everything in here, nice and straight and everything, clamped down tight and bolted in, we're gonna tack some reinforcements onto these, so that way they can't move anymore and they can't bend again. So we'll do that, and then that will be good, and we can put the swing arm back on the frame. You wanna push this engine bolt here for me?
Turn this way. There we go.
Here's one. All right.
Is this the top?
Yeah, this is the top of it.
Might have to bend it a little bit more. Just it's going.
Once you tighten it, it'll pull tight.
Yeah.
And then we'll weld the reinforcements in like that. Put it nice and tight and centered up. All right, so now get the washer over here. And the nut. Not the mount. The reinforcing the mount is a normal thing. Most people do that to these because that mount fails. It's known to fail. It's just weak from factory.
I mean, it is only like
it's like
inch steel.
No, what's less than eighth? It's like 32nd, like 32 gauge steel.
Yeah, like 16.
It's really thin. It's like paper. So now that the engine's in, it's a lot straighter than it was. Not 100% perfect, but a lot better. I'm going to tighten this bottom engine bolt first, since this one's a lot straighter than this top one. Tighten this first, then I'm going to tighten this top one. The top one will flex in against where it needs to be, and then we can like give it some taps to get it to mold properly with a hammer. And then we'll get our reinforcements, grind the paint off here, and reinforce down the sides of these, and weld in some reinforcements, so that way it don't bend anymore. Alrighty, so I got the engine perfectly centered up, exactly how we want it in the middle of the frame. Nice and straight, looks beautiful. So now, I made these side reinforcements here, 2 for the left and 2 for the right of the bike here. Left goes on this side, right goes on this side. These are going to get tacked on like this. Shorter one goes on the top, gonna go down like that, and get tacked on there like this, something like that. And we're gonna get welded across the top right there to the frame here. And then on the bottoms here, they're going to go on like this. So now I got the reinforcements all tacked on, the middle one tacked in as well. It's looking good. The top mount will be stronger than ever. I'm gonna remove the engine so I can fully weld it all up. And then we can repaint it. It's all welded up. Looks really good. It's going to be so much stronger than it ever has been. I got it all sanded down and wiped off with brake clean. Now we're gonna let it off gas, then we can paint it up. Some nice black paint so it doesn't rust. Let it dry, clear coat it, and we can put our engine back in. But while that's drying, I'm going to adjust the valves on this engine. So to adjust the valves on these, the intake is set to 3,000, the exhaust is set to 5. You take these 2 covers off, they're 17 mils. Take your spark plug out so you can see into your cylinder. And I don't have the intake or the exhaust on, so that way I can make sure the valves are working properly and everything. And you gotta take this side cover off here, so that way you can rotate your stator. And there's a timing tick in here, and that will show you where top dead center is. That is one oily, dirty spark plug. That's pretty bad. So if you can see here, there's the T and an F. And there's a little tiny notch in the case there. That is what you're gonna line it up with. Intake definitely feels tight. Exhaust is a tiny bit loose. The intake's definitely tight. All right, so we just got the intake set to 3,000, so that's perfect. Now it's loose. It actually has some wiggle again. The exhaust has some wiggle, but it's too tight. We can't get 5,000 since. We gotta loosen that one a little bit as well. So I'm gonna do that. And then it should run a lot better. And I'm gonna look in the intake here and look in the exhaust port and everything and see if I see anything going on as to where the oil might be leaking from or something. Yeah, I think it might have been this valve cover here though, because it was very loose. So it might have been that just leaking. And the spark plug was also really loose as well. And the exhaust wasn't bolted like at all. So not a lot of good things for this engine. It's gonna be a lot better once we put it together properly. All right, we got the valves readjusted, everything's back together. So now I'm gonna install our new carburetor assembly. So we got a bunch of new things. Got a new carburetor, new manifold, fuel line, fuel filters. We got gaskets, bolts, nuts for the carburetor and the block, air filter, new throttle that also came with it, and a throttle cable. So we're gonna install all of this now. Got the carburetor all set up with the new throttle attached and everything. It's working great, feels amazing. So now, new spark plug in as well. But now on the swing arm here, the previous owner stripped out these two holes here that the bolts go through for the tensioners. So what I'm going to do is I got these new ones here. I got a bolt, a nut, and a nut. I'm gonna put this in this hole here. I'm gonna tack this nut to the swing arm frame, like the frame of the swing arm here. So then you'll be able to, this will lock this post to this, and you'll be able to thread this bolt in and out to adjust the tension for your wheel and your axle. So it's a good hack. I just drilled it out one size to get rid of the thread, so that way these bolts can slide right in now. And then these will be the nut will be our new threads. So it should work good. So I'm gonna tack that up in place, and then that will be mint as well. I also got the paint on this frame. It looks amazing. So much better than it did. It's gonna be so much stronger now as well. Looking beautiful. So I'm just gonna put one more coat of clear on it and then it'll be perfect. The frame's all dried up. It looks fantastic. It's ready to go back over the engine. So I'm gonna do that now. Put the two engine bolts in, see how it all looks and lines up. It should be a lot better. And then we gotta wait for our swing arm bolt to come so we can put the swing arm on. We got the new foot peg bracket. This one's a lot nicer than the other one. It's got lots of reinforcements welded on, and both sides are angled up, so you get more lift, which is very, very nice. So I'm installing the foot pegs, and I'm going to install the kickstand to it, and then it should be good. And we can bolt it to the bottom of the engine once the engine's back on the frame. We got the foot pegs and the kickstand attached to the foot peg kickstand assembly. So now it's ready to go back on the bottom of the engine. So now we're going to put the frame onto the engine. And Russell's working on his mini bike now. All right, finally got the engine in. It's all bolted down. It's nice and centered up in the frame now. Looks way better. So now I'm putting the swing arm on and tighten that down and then install a new rear shock. Got the rear swing arm tightened down. New shock is in. This thing is amazing. It actually has dampening now. Look at that. And it's not instant compression. So that's nice too. This thing's gonna be sweet when it's done. Can't wait to get this rear axle in so I can put the rear wheel on. Time to do the foot pegs though. We'll put the foot pegs and kickstand on now. We also got the throttle hooked up. Gotta get the tension adjusted. It's not bad. Nice and snappy though. Feeling good. Looking mint. I got the swing arm all tightened down and everything. New rear shock is in. This thing looks sweet. Looks real good. Got the foot pegs on. The new foot pegs we're getting will be angled more flat, so, but this is just how it'll be for now. But we have new ones coming, so. And now I gotta install the wiring for it, the engine, and tuck all the wiring, so that way it's nice and neatly tucked away and everything. Zip tie up the throttle cable and everything. And install the new front brakes we have for it. And install the rear brake system as well. Just got the rear brakes installed, the brake lever, and the kickstart, and did the wiring with the wire tuck. It's looking good. It's looking really good. Gonna do the shift lever next. And then I gotta wait for the gas tank to come. So I'm gonna take the front brake caliper and lever off because we have a whole new one and line that came. So we're gonna replace it with that. All right, so now I'm gonna disassemble the front brakes. We got new ones. Opposite sides to what it was. Take those off. Take this off. Now the front brakes are off. All right, so we're back today. We drained out the oil. The oil is not great. It's pretty dark. So we're gonna replace that with some new oil. And we got the rear wheel all cleaned up. And we got a new axle in. So we're gonna install the rear wheel finally again. And we can put a new chain on and do the brakes. So I had to take the rear brake caliper off because this part's so sanded away in there from the rotor, it can't hold the pad in anymore. So I had to take it off, and because this is gonna have to get replaced. But I have an idea where I could maybe get a front caliper, because I have an extra front caliper. I could maybe get this caliper to work on this. I have to cut the bracket and drill 2 new holes in this right here. I have to like cut it, drill 2 new holes. But for this bracket to fit and everything, but it could work really, really good. Alrighty, now before we do the brakes in the back here and the front forks, I'm going to install the gas tank. So that's really easy here. We got a brand new gas tank with a billet cap, nice breather on top, brand new petcock. So we're going to just take out our bolts here. Set our gas tank down on top. You want to get the front one in first, and then you get your rear one in. Make sure you have washers on top of them as well. You do need that. So we got the chain on now, and it's all tensioned properly, lined up. Looks beautiful. Next up, we're doing the rear brakes now. So I put the new caliper onto the old line and system here and hooked it back up. So now I'm going to cut this bracket across right here, cut it off. I got the rear brake caliper tacked on, so now I'm gonna take it off and weld it and add all the reinforcements and then grind it down to like the shape and size I want and look and everything. But first I'm gonna install the exhaust. I got it slightly bolted on. I gotta finish bolting it on. I wrapped it with heat wrap there so you don't burn your leg. Should be mint. Looks good. Looks sweet with that new exhaust on there. Got the exhaust on. Got the fuel line on, the fuel filter on. Looking sweet. Got the chain nice and on and everything. So now we just gotta finish the rear brakes do the front brakes, change the fork oil, grease the headset bearings, and then this thing will be done, ready to be put back together with the plastics and everything, and ready for a test ride. It's looking good. So much better than it did when we first got it. It's like a brand new bike now. Got the rear wheel off, and we welded up the bracket, and we painted it, so now it's drying. Look at that, looks good. So now we'll be able to have rear brakes with a dual piston caliper instead of single, so it'll stop much better with the rear foot pedal than it used to, so that's mint. All right, we're back again today, and I took the front wheel and front forks off, so that way I can change the fluid in them and add these spacers I made here to add more preload to the springs so they're not so soft. So I already did this one over here to see what size spacer I would need, but this is the one we're gonna do next. So we're gonna take the spring out and then pour all the fluid into that funnel there so we can measure out how much fluid came out of it. So that way we know how much to put back in.
Let the oil drip off a little bit.
This stuff smells horrible. It's never been changed before. It's nasty. Oh, that is black. The other side was tan. It was weird. This is black, though. Oh, it smells so bad. That's how much oil came out of it. So I want to make sure I put that much back in. Now I got the exact amount I need measured out in fresh oil, so I'm going to pour that into the top and then put my spring extension on top of it, of the spring, and push the cap back on and thread it in. Alright, we got the forks back together. The suspension feels way better. It's much stiffer. We added 1.25 inch spacers to both sides. It's mint. Got the front brakes on too. We got new front brakes. They stop perfect. The cable's a little bit long, but we're gonna be getting longer forks for it and taller bars, so that will take up the extra slack from the cable and it'll all even out once it's all said and done. But for now, this is how it's gonna be. But there's a bunch of headset play. So I'm going to take the triple tree off the top here and drop the forks out the bottom so I can grease up the bearings, clean it all out, and then readjust and tighten it all down the way it should be. There's the old bearings right there for the headset. We got to wipe the grease off, and we clean the grease off of these as well. Get them all looking good. Now we're gonna re-grease everything, and we'll go tighten it all back down. Got the bearings repacked with grease, and the race is up here as well. So now we can feed the fork back up in there, and then put the cap back on. Got the headset all back together, nice and tightened down. There's no more play, spins nice and buttery. Now I'm just gonna adjust the handlebars because they're leaned back way too far. Like, look at that, that looks terrible. You're gonna do that, throw the seat on with the plastics. And all you have to do left is bleed the rear brake. And then we can put some gas in this and try to start it up. It's gonna be sweet. Time to install the front plastic. And then I'm gonna put the seat on. And it'll be looking good. This thing came out so nice. It's so much better than when it started. The only thing it still needs is new wheels and tires and the front forks and bars. And then it'll be perfect. The new plastics and seat as well, but those we already have. All right, it's all back together. It looks sweet now. It's like a brand new bike. Mint. It actually has an exhaust now and muffler. That's so good. This should run a lot better now too. Both brakes work. Solid. Just put gas in it, so we're gonna try to start it up for the first time. All right, let's try to start it. Let's see what happens. Fuel's already on. Oh man. Kickstand up. It's got some compression now. sounds pretty good. It sounds so much better than it did. I need to turn up the idle a little bit. It's a little bit smoky, but I think it might need valve seals. So that's probably why it's smoking. A little oil, and there could be some oil in the head still from when it was leaking earlier, before. Because I might have fixed the oil leak, I'm not sure. But yeah, it needs a bigger pilot jet. It's not idling quite right, it's too low. It has rev hang. All right, so we just got it all put back together. Everything is all ready for it. Oil's done. Throttle's mint, carburetor's mint. Got it all nice and tuned up. It's running pretty good. It's still smoking a little bit. I'm hoping it'll go away. I'm hoping it's just the new exhaust or some of the old oil that was in the head and the cylinder from when the valve was too tight. But we're gonna take it for our first test ride now. So let's start it up and see what it does.
Yeah.
There we go, now it's neutral.
So you got to start it in neutral?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the idle might need to be up a little bit low.
It's a little bit low?
Yeah.
All right. Looks like it runs amazing, yo.
Pretty quick too.
I saw you were getting up there. I was like, yo.
I didn't even hit fourth gear yet.
Really?
Yeah, that was my third.
Yeah, that don't. Is that just
getting? This lever's bent in. We gotta bend it back out a little bit. You can't get your foot on it very well.
To shift?
Yeah. No, to brake.
To brake? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Runs pretty sweet. It definitely needs a little bit bigger of a main jet though.
Yeah.
When you fully floor it, it bogs a little bit.
Okay.
So a little bit bigger of a main, the 130 I think is what it needs.
130?
Perfect. Yeah. Runs great though.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Right now the exhaust wrap is getting...
Yeah, it's just burning off.
Okay.
It's cooking in. We just did the final adjustments to the carburetor and it seems like it's running perfect. It still smokes a little tiny bit. It definitely needs either valve seals or piston rings, one of the two. I'm not sure exactly which, but it runs really good. It doesn't have any hesitation or anything. Everything's nice and straight now. All the brakes work. My buddy James, the owner of this bike, is going to be installing the new seat and plastics and graphic kit once I return it. So the next time you see it on the channel, it will have all that and it'll be looking even better. But I'm glad I could get this thing all fixed up for him. Running really good. Everything nice and straightened out. Frames reinforced. It should be mint. So we're going to take it for one final ride and see what it can do. And I'll load it up and return it and see his reaction to what it looks like now.
Gonna sound beautiful. Alright, he didn't close on himself.
All right, got the bike loaded up. Now we'll take it over to James's house, see his reaction. What it looks like now. He hasn't seen it yet or ridden it since he just got it. It looks 1,000 times better than it did.
It's not tight.
Nah, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, that's fire.
You like it?
Oh yeah, that shit was clapped before, bro.
I know. Looks brand new now.
It does.
Especially once it gets some new plastics.
Oh, the new carb?
Yeah.
Fire. Oh yeah.
You want to take it off so you can try it?
Yeah.
All right. He's taking it out for his first ride. Looks like a happy customer to me. Yeah.
Dude, but it's nice though.
It runs pretty good, looks good.
It does.
Yeah. Happy customer, right? Yeah. All right, well, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.
It was fun today.
Yup, we hope you enjoyed the video of us restoring the SSR125, getting it back to good running condition. And we'll see you in the next one when we're doing a bunch more mods to the street bike frame and getting that ready more. So stay tuned for that.